Before he was the Mad Titan, before he wielded the Infinity Gauntlet and reshaped the cosmos itself, Thanos was a child, born on the planet Titan, a moon of Saturn, into a society of brilliance, prosperity, and illusion. Thanos was not like the others. While the Eternals of Titan prided themselves on perfection and peace, the child born to Ehlers and Sui-San bore the deviant gene, a mutation that rendered his skin purple, his body larger, and his presence unsettling. His eyes were sharp, too sharp for comfort. Even as an infant, there was a cold calculation behind them. The Eternals whispered. His own mother, upon looking into his eyes, tried to kill him. She saw something not just alien, but destined for destruction. But Ehlers, ever the man of science and hope, spared the child. He named him Thanos, meaning death in the old tongue, unaware of the irony. He believed that perhaps love could shape the boy, that nurture could overcome nature. Growing up, Thanos was solitary, an outcast among the shining halls of Titan. He studied endlessly, mastering biology, engineering, astrophysics, and philosophy. He sought answers not in the warmth of companionship, but in the cold precision of logic and the void of the stars. His intellect was unmatched, his ideas were radical, and his obsession was balance. Titan, despite its utopian facade, was dying. Overpopulation, dwindling resources, and political arrogance threatened to collapse their civilization. Thanos proposed a solution, horrifying yet mathematically flawless: random extermination, half of the population, cold without bias or malice. To preserve the whole, he was laughed at, shunned, labeled mad, but he was right. Not long after his theories were rejected, Titan fell. Its people choked on their pride. Its cities crumbled. The paradise became a graveyard, and Thanos watched it all. The death of his world did not break him. It transformed him. In the silence of that devastation, something bloomed within him. Not sorrow, but purpose. He had seen what the universe refused to admit. Unchecked life leads to ruin. Mercy is a lie told by the comfortable. Only through impartial destruction could life truly flourish. Thanos left Titan, but he carried with him its ashes and a new mission. He wandered the stars, gathering knowledge, power, and followers. He saved worlds from their own self-destruction. By force, planet after planet, he enacted his cruel calculus, decimating populations with ruthless precision. To some, he was a monster. To others, a god. But to himself, he was salvation. Yet in the deepest corners of the cosmos, something darker stirred. For even as Thanos refined his purpose, he found a new obsession. Death. Not as a metaphor, not as an idea, but as an entity. The embodiment of death herself revealed her presence to him, or so he believed. She was beautiful, cold, and eternal. And Thanos, for the first time, felt something alien, longing. He would kill not just for balance, but to prove his worth to her, to earn her affection, to become her champion. It was no longer enough to destroy randomly. Now, Thanos would begin to hunt for the means to destroy everything. The next chapter of his destiny would not be built on theories, but on stones, the Infinity Stones. In the silent corridors of his dreadnought ship, Sanctuary, Thanos meditated upon infinity. It wasn't power he craved, it was balance. A twisted form of harmony that only he could see. Planets teetered on the brink of ruin, resources devoured by unchecked growth, civilizations drowning in their own abundance. Where others saw prosperity, Thanos saw a cancer consuming the cosmos. The memory of Titan's fall haunted him. Its leaders scoffed at his proposal of random population reduction, called it madness. He watched his homeworld wither into dust. He would not watch again, not in silence, not without action. From the shadows, Thanos began assembling a force. He raised the Black Order, a cadre of loyal, deadly generals. Each was hand-picked. Corvus Glaive, his most loyal executioner. Proxima Midnight, ruthless and cunning. Ebony Maw, a manipulator and master of persuasion. Cull Obsidian, a brute of immense strength. Together, they culled worlds, always with the same brutal efficiency. Half lived, half perished. Survivors were told to rejoice. They had been saved, but Thanos knew that even this method was temporary, fleeting. He needed something more. Absolute. That's when he turned his gaze to the Infinity Stones. Each one was a fragment of the universe's very fabricant: space, reality, power, mind, and soul. Individually, they could bend the laws of nature. Together, they could reshape reality itself. Thanos became obsessed. He scoured legends and ancient scrolls, interrogated dying gods, and tore knowledge from the deepest corners of the cosmos. His plan crystallized, assembled the stones, forged them into a singular vessel, the Infinity Gauntlet, and, with a single snap of his fingers, eliminate half of all life in the universe, painlessly, instantly, perfectly balanced. He made his first move on Xandar. The Power Stone, once locked away by the Nova Corps, fell into his hands after a brutal massacre. Entire fleets fell before him. Cities were vaporized. No one could stand against him. The first gem glittered in his gauntlet, a cruel beacon of things to come. Next, he turned his attention to Asgard, or rather, what remained of it. As the realm drifted toward oblivion aboard a refugee ship, Thanos intercepted them. A massacre followed. He took the Space Stone from the Tesseract, shattering it in Loki's hands. Thor watched helplessly as his brother fell, and his people burned. Each stone brought him closer to his divine purpose. But more than that, it fed something darker inside him. Not just a savior complex, but a god complex. He didn't merely want to fix the universe. He wanted to become its judge, jury, and executioner. As Thanos collected the stones, his legend grew. Whispers spread across galaxies. Worlds trembled at the mention of his name. Some hailed him as a prophet. Others cursed him as the Mad Titan. But all agreed on one thing: Thanos was inevitable. And the universe, whether it liked it or not, was running out of time. The stars bore silent witness as Thanos carved his path through the cosmos. One by one, the remaining Infinity Stones fell to his will, not through diplomacy, but through devastation. To obtain the Reality Stone, he traveled to nowhere, the mining colony built in the severed head of a celestial. There, the ether was hidden by the Asgardians, but now under the care of the Collector. What the Guardians of the Galaxy saw upon their arrival was a twisted illusion: corpses, fire, ruin. In truth, Thanos was already waiting, his gauntlet pulsing with dark power. With a flick of his fingers, he bent reality around them like paper, turning their attacks into absurdities. He took the stone with ease, leaving only dread in his wake. But the Soul Stone required a sacrifice far greater. Guided by the tortured Moor and accompanied by his adopted daughter Gamora, Thanos reached Wormia, a desolate world orbiting a dying sun. There, a ghost from the past, the Red Skull, guarded the secret. The price of the Soul Stone was not strength or cunning, but a soul for a soul. Gamora, whom Thanos had raised as a weapon, was the one being he truly loved, and yet, he did not hesitate. With tears in his eyes and conviction in his heart, he threw her from the cliff. The stone appeared at his feet, and with it, another piece of the puzzle was his. But something deeper broke within him. Though Thanos claimed his path was without emotion, the echo of her scream followed him through the void. Now armed with 4 stones, Thanos set his sights on Earth. 2 stones remained: the Time Stone, safeguarded by Doctor Strange, and the Mind Stone, embedded in the forehead of Vision. But Earth's defenders had assembled. The Avengers, fractured by internal war, now reunited. They knew the stakes, and for the first time, they stood united, not just for the planet, but for the universe. As Thanos battled across space, his Black Order descended upon Earth. In Wakanda, the skies darkened with alien dropships. The forests trembled under the weight of invasion. Captain America led the charge. Black Panther roared his people to battle. Scarlet Witch held back an army with sheer force of will. And Vision, weakened and desperate, was protected at all costs. Meanwhile, on Titan, Thanos confronted Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis. It was the Mad Titan versus the future, the past, and the present of Marvel's champions. For a moment, they almost won. Mantis subdued his mind. Spider-Man pulled at the gauntlet. Iron Man struck with unrelenting fury. But when Star-Lord learned of Gamora's fate, rage overcame reason. Thanos awoke, shattered the resistance, and nearly killed Tony Stark, stopped only when Strange offered the Time Stone willingly. Thanos left, Titan victorious. The final battle unfolded in Wakanda. Avengers fought valiantly, buying time as Shuri attempted to extract the Mind Stone from Vision without killing him, but it was too late. Thanos arrived, unstoppable, unmerciful. One by one, the heroes fell. Thor struck him with Stormbreaker, burying the weapon into his chest. But it wasn't enough. With the gauntlet complete, Thanos raised his hand. Snap. In an instant, the universe changed. Dust. That's all that remained of half of all life, heroes and innocents alike. Black Panther, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, gone. Only silence remained. A silence that echoed across galaxies. And Thanos, he did not revel, he did not gloat. He vanished to a distant planet, sat among the fields, and watched the sunrise. The universe, finally, was balanced. But the cost, oh, the cost. The dust had not yet settled when the universe began to grieve. Across planets and star systems, families were torn in half. Civilizations crumbled under the weight of sudden loss. Ships floated aimlessly in the void, abandoned by vanished crews. Worlds fell silent. The balance Thanos had long envisioned, a universe relieved of overpopulation and decay, had come at an immeasurable cost. But the mad Titan, now retired and alone, felt peace. He tended to a quiet garden on a remote planet. No soldiers, no throne, no glory. Just a simple hut, a harvest, and the weight of a universe reshaped by his hand. He had become what he always believed himself to be, inevitable. Yet, fate had more to say. On Earth, the survivors Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, Thor, and a devastated Tony Stark refused to accept defeat. When Captain Marvel returned to Earth, she joined them in one final desperate mission. They tracked Thanos' energy signature to his new world, stormed his garden, and found him broken. The gauntlet was destroyed. The stones, reduced to atoms. He had used them one last time to prevent temptation. In his final words, Thanos did not beg, he did not fight. He simply said, "I am inevitable." Then Thor struck. Thanos died not on a battlefield, but in silence. His head severed, his plan complete, and yet, unfulfilled. 5 years passed. The world limped forward. Cities were empty. Hope was a fragile thing. But in that silence, a spark remained. Ant-Man, long thought lost, returned from the quantum realm, bringing a theory: time travel. The Avengers gathered. They reached across the past to recover the Infinity Stones before Thanos could ever touch them. A time heist through the history of the universe began through New York, Asgard, Morag, and beyond. But the past held its own dangers. 2014. Thanos, still seeking the stones, learned of his future and his death. Through Nebula's cybernetic link, he watched the destiny he would fulfill and how he would fall. And in that moment, Thanos saw something clearer than ever before. He had been merciful, wiping out half of all life, still left room for memory, for pain, for vengeance. This time, he would build a new universe, a grateful one. From zero. He followed the Avengers into the future, and there, at the ruins of the destroyed Avengers compound, Thanos returned, older, yet younger. No stones, no gauntlet, only ambition and blade. The final war had begun. From the dust and rubble rose Earth's last defense. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, 3 titans stood against one. Lightning clashed with blade, shields shattered, suits cracked, and then on your left, portals opened. The Snapped had returned. Wakanda, Titan, Earth, Asgard, the armies of the universe stood united. Every Avenger, every Guardian, every sorcerer, warrior, and ally. Thanos faced them all, and still he pressed on. Not for glory, not for death, for destiny. But it was not his destiny to win. Amid the chaos, the gauntlet returned to play. Clint Barton ran, T'Challa guarded, Peter Parker fought through waves of destruction, and finally, Tony Stark, the man who had watched the world fall, stood before Thanos. With one last sleight of hand, he took the stones. "I am Iron Man." Snap. The army of Thanos turned to dust. His warships crumbled, his generals vanished, and finally Thanos, seeing all he had built, turned to ash, sat down once more. This time, to die. No balance, no applause, only silence. His legacy would echo forever. He forced gods to bleed. He made heroes break. He brought the cosmos to the brink, and back again. Some call him mad, others a visionary. But in the end, Thanos was something more, a mirror of the universe's darkest truths, a god who dared to rewrite fate, a villain who believed himself its savior, and above all, inevitable.